Well done.
Brilliant. You guys. Where's Pat?
I don't know, he's going AWOL, he's decided not to show up tonight yet. But good evening everyone, thank you for joining us tonight on the People's Doorstep Referendum Facebook page. We are here, as we usually are on a Sunday, a wee bit earlier than normal. But we want to have a lively conversation with regard to Brexit, Scottish independence, and everything that's happening around the world, both politically and generally. So make sure you leave your comments in the Facebook page, get involved in the chat. We'll shout out your opinions, we'll see if we can try and answer some of your questions and do what politicians famously don't do, which is answer some of the questions. Tonight we've obviously got myself, Ian Leckenby, and we have Colin McPherson from Germans for Independence. Colin, good evening, how are you keeping, mate?
Good evening, I'm fine, thanks. I'm fine. And yourself?
Very good, yeah, and we'll just take a chance to introduce Graham Dallas as well. Thank you very much for that music introduction. It's always nice to have a bit of an intro to our chat shows. So let's kick off straight off the bat with you, Colin. You ran the German rally at the weekend there. Do you want to give us some insight into how it went?
Well, I think it went very well. We had about 100 folk, which is what we've been aiming for. Obviously, it's difficult in Germany getting the crowd together to demonstrate for Scottish independence at the best of times. We were aiming for 100, we got the 100. Quite a few folk actually made the point that we had more folk taking part in our rally in Berlin than were taking part in Nigel Farage's march for Brexit in England at the time, which we were a wee bit chuffed about. It was a good day. We started in front of the Brandenburg Gate and then went on to the British Embassy, then marched up to Alexanderplatz, all of this in Old East Berlin. We had the rally then at the World Clock in Alexanderplatz, which has, since it was built in the 60s, been a symbol of internationalism. And we had speakers for basically all over the place. We had Giada from Italians for Independence. We had Ariel Killick, who had a great speech, as always, from Ariel. We had Pat Lee making a speech. Duncan MacDonald, one of our Scots in Germany, made a speech. We had pipers. We had the brilliant Kevin Gore playing us a few songs. So it was a good day. It was a good day. I think we got the message out.
Well, what was the general reaction from the German population that you came across? Was an interest into what's happening in Scotland? Was there any previous knowledge of it? I mean, what did you find was the reaction on the street?
We had a few folk coming up and talking to us, asking what we were going on about, basically. And again, I think we're having the two pipers leading the march. That obviously helped our reach, because the Germans, they tend to like Scottish things, and if you get a couple of pipers walking up a main thoroughfare in the middle of Berlin, it's obviously something a little bit out of the ordinary. And we had folk asking what the story was. Again, it goes with my experience in Germany just over the last few years. The German media tends not to report the Scottish independence movement very often. And the Germans themselves, they have a wee bit of a problem understanding in the first instance, because you've got to understand German history. Germany was created in the 19th century out of lots of smaller states, so they're all very proud to be part of one state. Then they also had the East and West Germany, and during the Cold War, where again the reunification was the big deal. So for them, what we're trying to do goes a wee bit against the grain of what they would normally think about in the normal way of things. But when we explain the scenario, when we explain what's going on, you tend to find we get a very sympathetic response. I don't think we necessarily converted anybody who's going to join the group and march tomorrow if they got a chance. But again, that's not a main focus. Our main focus is to raise awareness in Germany, because when it does come to the next independence referendum, it's going to be important for support from Europe to be vocal, to be seen. And again, what we found, a lot of the activists in Scotland, it gives them a buzz to know that they're not on their own, that there's folks standing shoulder to shoulder, hand in hand, back to back with them, even in the heart of Europe.
And do you find in Germany, obviously, they're aware, obviously, of the whole Brexit process? I was in Austria a few weeks ago, and the consensus I was getting from people was they really don't care about Brexit. They don't have any specific interest in it. They don't feel it's something that's going to affect them at the moment. I mean, it will do if the world enters into a full-blown recession, if the UK economy crashes in the next couple of weeks if we leave with a no deal. But what I did find was people were aware that Scotland had voted overridingly to remain in the EU. Every single voting constituency in Scotland voted to remain in the EU. So that's, I think, a lot of the conversation we want to be having with Europe as well is we don't want to have the whole independence tied into the Europe question. They need to be separate questions for separate times, but ultimately Scotland's already answered that question quite categorically. You know, when you're talking over, was it 64-65% of the population here voted to remain in Europe, and you look at the ultimate vote was 52-48. So it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks. We're obviously live now. Colin's keeping an eye on Twitter for us because Theresa May is due to make a speech. And I was going to say that, so we want to see what she's got to say for herself. Potentially, if they're going to call a general election, which I was reading today, Michelle Barnier will agree to an extension on the Article 50 process if the politicians vote for Theresa May's backstop arrangements on the next voting round. Leave it at that. I'm not sure if John Barco, the House Speaker, is going to allow a third vote because she can't change anything. She can't renegotiate the deal. So she's putting forward exactly the same legislation she has been before. We're obviously being live now. Colin's keeping an eye on Twitter for this because Theresa May, and that's Pat joining in causing a massive echo because he's watching the Facebook Live. So we want to say for ourselves. But at least we know the audio's working, that's one thing.
I had to get in contact with you somehow.
Good to have you on. Let me get you on the actual screen here. Because of my Skype,
I can see me.
Problems.
I can see everybody.
You've been singing too much, Pat.
It was a cold I picked up before I went to Berlin.
I heard it in the rally.
No, not at all, Colin. Your hospitality was excellent.
It's a great weekend, Pat. It was great to have you over.
Yes, and I now know how to get around Berlin blindfolded and hobbling on crutches.
Is that blindfolded or blind drunk?
Blindfolded on crutches. Apparently it's a German tradition. I'll tell you about the Sunday.
Explain to everybody else, the other guy that was organising the match with me, he managed to knacker his knee on Friday, so it was touch and go if even going to be able to make it right up until Saturday morning. Both of us, we originally planned we were going to sit in the car which had the loudspeaker on it, just so we didn't have to walk the whole distance. But of course, us being us, we didn't. We were both running around the parade like spring chickens, taking photos to put onto Twitter and to Facebook.
I wouldn't actually say running. It was a great weekend. I've got to say, and this is a bit of a downer, Berlin didn't live up to my expectations. The city itself. But that's it. I'll discuss that offline.
Okay.
Just on the Facebook side of things, so everyone that's tuning in tonight, thanks very much for stopping by. Thanks for being part of the conversation. Thanks for all your contributions. few wee shout outs. Sandy Small doing a great job, carry on. Christine Mulgrew, let's get on with independence. Danny McGrant is asking, hi Pat, why are you watching and not on? So that's been answered. His phone was broken, he's got his on now. So yeah, we're obviously here tonight just talking about everything Scottish independence, and we're now obviously coming up into technically marching season. We've got the Glasgow rally in a couple of days time. We've just had College rally in Germany. We've got rallies organised in the Netherlands, all the way, we've got Glasgow on Sunday and we've got Inverness on Saturday. And these are the two last rallies, as far as I'm aware, before Brexit's supposed to happen.
Brexit.
So, obviously, I imagine Graham and Pat will both be Glasgow on Sunday.
Yes, I'll manage Glasgow, but I wouldn't manage Inverness.
So we'll need to try and get someone up there to get some video for Inverness. I'll be in Glasgow filming as well, doing the march and some of the rallies afterwards. I'll give a shout out as well to Independence Live. They're picking up our stream as well and sharing it on their platform. So remember guys, anyone that wants to get involved in this, be it from a Facebook level, from a website level, from Twitter, drop us a PM, like the page, get in touch with them. We're all admins on there, we can react to everything. Because I think what the important thing really we need to focus on doing now is delivering the right message that Scotland is ready for independence. And we need to be having some of the conversation, especially if we look at, one thing I'd like to bring up is that Daphne K. Burtley on Sky News. She was interviewing Ian Blackford, and through the whole, you'll need to get the euro into the argument again, which is, we don't need to sign up to the euro. No one that joins the EU has to take the euro. It's a recommended currency, it's a recommended traded unit, but you have to be in Europe for 2 years before you can actually be in the euro. Pat, go for it.
Yeah, just check if the line's down, it's going blank on Indie Live.
He's just said he's simulcasting.
Yeah,
right.
I've maybe just caused him to crash by tagging his name to it. I think I'm still getting a visual on the Facebook here. Yeah, we're all good.
Excuse me, good. Right, on the issue of Kay Burley, this appears to be the beginning of Project Fear 2. The same techniques were used during Indy F1, whereby currency had to become the be-all and end-all. Let's put currency to bed. The currency that Scotland will require in an independent Scotland will be the currency of its choosing. Its choosing. And it was the same in India F1. It's the currency that's best suitable to the needs of Scotland after independence. We purposely use the British pound, Scottish pound, until we set up our own central bank. It's just a fallacy. Internationally traded currencies can be used anywhere around the world. So if in week 1 the Scottish pound, the English pound is suitable to the Scottish country, the Scottish nation, we will use it. If in week 2, and I know this is hypothetical, but if in week 2 the dollar is best or the euro is best, we have the power in an independent Scotland to change that. It will be of our choosing.
Can I say something?
Please, go on.
Coming, obviously I'm not as politically as aware as you, but this really frustrates me when I hear them on the TV and then we try to defend our right to use whatever currency we want. And I always think, okay, the pound's got a lot of debt attached to it. They're going to want us to take a share of the debt, but they don't want us to take the currency. So I think we need to throw the arguments back at them. Okay, you want to keep the currency, keep the debt. Second thing is, once you take Scottish oil and Scottish whisky out the pound, how much is the pound going to be worth?
Exactly.
The third one is, it doesn't matter what currency you use if you're rich. And Scotland's a rich country, so it doesn't matter whether we're using Deutschmarks. We'll reinvent the Deutschmark. It doesn't matter what currency you use if you've got plenty of money. Do you know what I mean? The Saudi Arabians could use it, the Arabians could use any currency. If you've got wealth, you've got wealth. So I don't think, and there was another point I made here. It was, yeah, that was it. Sorry, 3 points.
I think the point about the currency is, as Pat said, is Project Fear Mark II. It was something that was made a big deal of in the first independence referendum. And it was a case of, okay, we're not going to let you use the pound. Like, they could have stopped us. You made the point about the debt. That was one of the topics that was aired at the time. Well, if you won't let us use the pound, then we will have to consider about the debt. But the whole narrative about these different currencies and having to use the euro is basically the Brexiteer mentality, because the United Kingdom chose not to use the euro. It hadn't opted. It is not true, as both Ian and Pat said, that you have to use the euro if you join the EU. I'm holding something up to the screen. I don't know if you can see it. These are Czech crowns. This is legal tender in the Czech Republic. Now, if you go to the Czech Republic and you want to pay in euros, because especially at the border, they have quite a lot of cross-border tourism, you will usually be able to pay in euro as well. But this is the currency in the Czech Republic. There isn't a euro on it anywhere.
I mean, it's... Sorry, on you go, Pat.
Just on the issue of the currency, as Ian Whitford plainly mansplained, right?
After he was told not to.
After he was told not to. And the Conservatives are using this in their tweets right now, giving the Sky broadcast, but omitting this very important issue. To be a user of the euro, any nation must sign up to the European exchange rate, European exchange mechanism. And that is a voluntary negotiated situation. It is not incumbent on any nation to be a member of the European exchange mechanism. So, you cannot use the euro as your national currency unless you are a member, and you have been a member for 2 years. Therefore, with it being a voluntary situation, there is no pressure put on any nation to join the European exchange mechanism. Therefore, there is no pressure put on any nation at this point to use the euro as their national currency. Graham, I'll let you come in and just after this one. Just after this one point. On the issue of debt, the UK Treasury have already signed up to accepting all debt, and this is why they can get away with saying that they won't share the assets of the UK, which is perfectly fine, because we start off with a clean sheet, as all nations or seceding nations do. So either they share the wealth, international wealth of the UK, of which 10%, and it's based around, valued at 7.7 trillion. Or 10% of that is something like 7.7 billion. So if we had to take the 7.7 billion and remove our obligations to the UK debt, which would be 2 billion, we would be starting off with 5 billion. And all those figures can be garnered from the government information centres that are online. So all of what I'm saying can be checked out. I'll let you come in there.
Well, just before I go to Graham, I'm just going to say, Pat, put a light on because you're quite dark where you are, so people can see you. Is there anything? Yeah.
That is my lights. It's low.
It looks well at
Can I just jump in at one point in the currency again before we carry on? Pat, you're right about you have to be in the 2 years in the ERM before you can actually use the euro. You are expected, of course, if you join the European Union, to have a general desire to sign up and join the European exchange rate mechanism at a time of your own choosing when it is right for your country. There are currently, including the United Kingdom, 9 countries that are members of the European Union which do not use the euro. Sweden and Denmark are a bit of a case in point because they also agreed to opt out before all these new states joined. But if I read to you, not just the Czech Republic, but Bulgaria, Croatia, Hungary, Poland, Romania have all joined the European Union in fairly recent years and do not use the euro.
Can I just come in there? These arguments are all perfectly right, but they're long-winded, and I think they hit us with sound bites all the time, and that's what they did, right? You can't use the pound. Now, you can go on, we all know we can use the pound, but they're just putting quick things into people's head, and we need to come back with quick things and say, as I say, the point is, if we can't use the pound, where's your pound going to be without oil and without whiskey? Your pound's only going to be worth 50 pence if you throw Scotland out the pound. So use Project Fear against them. And the second point you made, if you're going into Europe, you need to take the euro. Then just quickly say that's nonsense. There's 9 countries in there that don't use it. So you're talking nonsense. But it needs to be sound bites coming back at sound bites. That's what we got at the last, the independence. They would come back and say, you can't use the euro. And guys like me who are not as switched on to politics as you, that's all we heard. You can't use the euro, and then long-winded arguments to why we, you can't use the pound, long-winded arguments to why we could use the pound. And the argument was lost. I think we have to have sound bites, quick answers to come back at them. The questions are going to be.
I think you're perfectly right, Graham. And the answer, the answer to any question, such as the currency, is, why can't we?
Yeah.
Why can't we? Explain yourself. You've just made a statement. Explain it. Why can we not use the pound?
Yeah.
But why can we not choose the currency of their choosing?
See, the arguments that I would like to more go for, if you reference back to 2014, that was one of the crucial reasons that the country voted, if it did ultimately vote not against independence on that occasion.
Yeah.
The main reason for that was because it was brought up during the Sanjan process, or the time frame that you can't change political aspects. That was when that George Osborne came out and said, actually, no, you're not going to get access to the pound. And the SNP were left floundering. The white paper did not have the right evidence to support a new currency. I believe their white paper at that point was indicating they would continue to use the pound. So that meant that when Westminster turned in and said, no, you can't, there was no comeback. This time round, though, we're looking at the SNP have put out a manifesto about how they'll introduce a new currency. And the other thing I would say is, look at what's happening in the shipyards. 2014 we were told we need to stay in the UK to get our ships built here. The 14 frigates were in order. Those 14 frigates were cancelled down to 3, and they're now going to get built in Spain. They're not going to build in the Clyde. So the Clyde's getting mothballed. You've got the HMRC jobs, you need to keep in the UK to keep those jobs. Cumberdog's shutting down. East Kilbride's shutting down. It's ridiculous. The amount of nonsense that was told by Westminster, by the mainstream media, you need to vote to remain in the UK, to retain your EU membership, to retain your jobs, to retain your shipbuilding. All of that is pish, because all of it is now gone, or leaving, or being put up against us. And that is why, this time round, we can come back at them very easily and say, this is what they've done to us before, never again, never trust a Tory.
There's an important point to be made here. You can only use a lie once.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you can
They've
repeat
used-
a lie 1,000
Yeah.
times. If you're daft
There's a
enough to
million
believe it.
Tories who disagree with that.
But they've used the lie. That's the point I'm trying to make. They've used the lie. They cannot use that lie again. And Kate Burley's statement makes a fact of that because it went wild on social media, and it's now picked up again with the National and other press throughout the world. In fact, London's Calling about the referendum, the film about the referendum, is being shown in Canada right as we speak. So the world know about it and have been evidenced in the fact that the vows that were made were nothing more than lies. Those lies can never be used again.
I think there's another couple of points that we need to make here. This currency remark, and it was in Sky News yesterday. Just this evening, Channel 4 have a Channel 4 News have a fact-checked site, and they actually posted on Twitter. They posted the arguments being forced to use euros were actually right. So again, we're seeing this project fear coming from all sides. And the other thing, I'm getting some feedback here. Somebody got their audio on?
I'm getting interruptions from yourself, Colin.
Yeah, I was getting that.
I think it's just a Skype bit.
Okay. Well, let's say the project is coming from all sides. And also the other thing to bear in mind is that with needing sound bites, which again, Graham, I absolutely agree with you, we have creative folk in the independence movement, such as, for example, Indie Poster Boy, and it's incumbent on us to share that material far and wide. He's always very quick when there's something comes up which needs to be denied, which needs to be basically have to be told that they're telling us lies. He's very quick to come up with his wee meme, just to repost it, short, sharp, and to the point. That material is free for everybody to share.
Who's that?
User Indie Poster Boy.
Poster Boy.
Aye, Sarkwan on Twitter.
So just a couple of shout outs in the Facebook. Danny was asking for Pat to keep his light off. Kayleigh has commented as well saying, we need to take our country back. It seems to me that the Scottish Parliament is hesitant, which I find strange. The EU is just as corrupt as Westminster. They want to bring in laws to promote police states and take away human rights. People need to come together and let our Parliament know they have an obligation to the people's voice. And I think that is ultimately what we're kind of asking for the SNP, but the argument I would still say has been there that no one's knowing what the Brexit process has been, what's going to happen, what's going to be involved, where we're going to be by the time it all clicks in. So yeah, as I said, the Skype's playing up horribly, guys, so I know that Mallory will be coming through fine because I'm not relying on that. Everyone else seems to be having problems with it, so apologies for the quality of the broadcast tonight.
Right. Where were we? You distracted me with that apology. Brexit. I've got to disagree with you. Everybody knows what's going to happen. They're running down the time so that they fall off that cliff edge. And Europe have to agree. 27 members have to agree. And Macron has come out and said there will be no extension. So if he's taken off that mind right now, then it's the 29th. Because they don't have the time to change legislation, and they must change legislation to allow for the extension. So are they going to change it on the 28th? Is Europe actually going to hold them up to the 20th? See, they all say everything gets done at the 11th hour. But what if Europe have said, no, enough's enough, this is your mess, you deal with it? Which they're quite right to do, because they have failed as a parliament to even sit down in the early days of this negotiation and get a simple concept of what they wanted out of Brexit. It was simply, we're going to do this and carry on doing it until March 29th arrives and we leave. That, to me, is as clear as the nose on each of their faces is the plan, because they haven't diverted from this no Brexit concept. They haven't in one inch. She's bringing back bloody 3 votes meaningful. How the hell can it be meaningful when it's been rejected twice?
The other thing I don't get as well, Pat, is what is the point in having Labour, the SNP, the Greens, all the other parties now coming down for a sit-down meeting 9 days? 9 days before Brexit. This has been on for nearly 3 years. 3 years the Tories had a chance to say, let's sit down, let's hash this out, let's work out as a country, not as a party, as a country, how do we deal with Brexit? As a parliament, how do we deal with Brexit? They've kept it in-house, and the reason they've kept it in-house is exactly as you've said, so that they get everyone to the 11th hour, so that they can't turn around and change anything. Brexiteers get the hard Brexit, Europe has to bend to the UK as well, because potentially that's the only way they can avoid a crashing in the markets. It's just all, it's going to be an interesting couple of weeks.
You see, I think it's all been a lie. When they announced Brexit, the most common sense thing to do was, once it was voted through by Parliament by a massive majority, they should have invited each of the parties and listened to each of the parties, and then they would have had something to pull from and put it together to have an agreement. So by not doing so and bringing it up to this 11th hour, knowing that Parliament would never agree to a single-sided issue, it had to be like a unified government, like a wartime situation, where the governments came together in the interests of the country, or the parties came together in the interests of the country. At that time, they sat down and agreed to work together for the benefit and the interests of the nation. This was always the Tory goal. There was no deal Brexit, because they honestly believe that they can recreate the UK, the British Empire 2.0. They're even bringing laws for the 17th century, prior to the Union.
The Union, yeah.
Prior to the Treaty of the Crowns, of the joining of the Crown. Prior laws in the English Parliament. In the English Parliament that don't apply to the British Parliament, because the English Parliament was supposed to have been disbanded. So how can you use a law that was pertaining to the English Parliament in the British Parliament? Doesn't apply. Doesn't apply. That's my view. But the point is, there's no intentions of a negotiated settlement with Europe. They had the single idea of get out of Europe, we don't have to pay the 39 billion. There's a winner. That at least brings some of the 350 million a week back into the coffers. But wait a minute, they've already spent 33 billion, and it's going to cost them another 5 billion to continue for another 3 months. There's no savings.
The most important point, Pat, is quite simply the Theresa May came out very quickly with the red lines. The red lines were intended to appease the hardcore Brexiteers in the ERG, for example. They were red lines which was very much having your cake and eating it, which anybody who has any inkling at all of what the European Union is about knew right from the word go that were never going to be accepted by Europe. Now, Europe, there's two. Either Theresa May is so stupid that she genuinely thinks Empire 2.0 is going to work. Go ahead, go to Europe, shout loud enough, repeat yourself often enough, and they'll come round, which I don't believe she's that stupid. Even if she were to be that stupid, there are a lot of civil servants advising her who will have said to her, this isn't going to happen, or she's been playing down the clock. And my personal belief is she's been playing down the clock. She's in a situation now where she's got a deal which is a bad deal, whatever way you look at it. She's now crawling to the EU, begging for an extension because she's run down the clock. The EU might or might not agree to the extension. I think what we saw today was that the EU again repeated their line, which has been very consistent. If there is a reason to extend Article 50, we would do it. And even Macron or the Italian government or whoever, he saw there was a chance of getting something moved forward to the next 3 months, they would agree to it. The German foreign minister says, well, if necessary, we can do a lap of honour. You can sense the frustration just by his choice of words. So it might happen, it might not happen, but she's now got the narrative, if it doesn't happen, and if she does end up crashing out without a deal, it's those nasty EU people's faults. So she thinks she's all right. The parties have been working together for many years, the smaller parties in Westminster. Now, I know that the SNP, they represent more constituencies in Scotland. In the basis of the Westminster Parliament, they still count as a small party. They've been working together with the Lib Dems and with the Greens for many a year. Even now, 9 days before Brexit, Labour still are not working with anybody. Some of you might have missed it. Today, they had a meeting of the party leaders. Jeremy Corbyn refused to attend. The reason he refused to attend is because Chuka Umunna was there from the new independent group, and apparently, therefore, he didn't want to attend because he's not technically a party leader. That is Labour for you.
Yes, but Labour also had held a meeting with the leaders of the recognised parties yesterday and asked them to get behind Labour's Brexit. The SNP don't want Brexit, the Greens don't want Brexit, the Lib Dems don't want Brexit. So why would you hold a meeting? Labour are doing exactly the same as Tory.
Yep.
They are ensuring there can be no consensus either with the government and the government benches or the opposition and the opposition benches. This is a UK limited strategy for leaving the EU. I stated on Saturday I voted against remaining, but the Scottish people decided. Now that's what democracy is. When the people decide. So yes, if England wants to leave the EU, by all means, become independent and leave. But the Scottish people have determined that their future is in Europe. Now what has to happen now is that Nicola Sturgeon and the SNP have to act. It is too late to be swithering about what the actual outcome of Brexit is going to be. Brexit is going to happen, in my view, unless they revoke it, because there's not time to put legislation through. And they're not going to come back to Parliament to even discuss this until Tuesday or Wednesday, and we're leaving on Thursday.
Right. and there's currently no majority in Parliament to revoke Article 50.
No.
That's a simple fact.
Both the main parties stood for it. The Labour and Conservatives both stood in a manifesto of we will implement the Brexit process. But listen, I'm just looking at the Facebook, we've got hundreds of comments here, so I'm just going to interrupt everyone so I can read out some of these. We had Danny asking, what are your thoughts on Theresa May's speech at Downing Street? Is she about to walk? That was then replied by Kaylee, who said, oh, she didn't quit. So I think she's been up on the stage and done her piece. So, Colin, if you want to check up on Twitter and see what's
getting said about that. I've not looked on Twitter, I've just looked on another newspaper website. The statement only lasted about 4 minutes. It was about half an hour later than planned. One guy posted on Twitter, well, May's not very good at deadlines anyway. The first thing she said is, it is a great personal regret that Britain is not leaving the EU on March the 29th. And then 4 minutes probably of waffle. The May's statement over. She said her deal was the best deal negotiable and attacked MPs for failing to make a decision. I am on your side, she said, addressing the British people. So basically, none.
No.
She's not what? She's not going to call a general election. She's not going to call a people's vote. She is banging her head against the brick wall she's been banging against for the last 2 years.
Well, we've got more people talking in our chat than she's obviously doing tonight, so I'll finish reading out these comments. They've already betrayed the people. We can still make a trade relationship, but I think membership would be a mistake. Brexit is making the rich richer, and that's just apparent from some of look at some of the politicians that are involved in delivering a hard Brexit, where their money lies. Johnny Rudkin, watching from down in Hawkcow. Many times, how many times can the SNP threaten Theresa May about independence? Nicola or Ian Blackford never say the word independence. It's all hints of Scotland doing their own thing without ever naming a date. Theresa May just ignores them, saying Scotland will leave Europe at the same time as England. Which ultimately is the SNP stood up in the Scottish Parliament, and they had a vote that they said they would try their very best to deliver, Brexit for the whole of the UK, including Scotland. It has now got to the point though where clearly it's not working, and that indie ref button is getting ready to get pushed. I'm going to put 2 days. 2 days, I think Nicola Sturgeon, the next 40 hours we'll have some sort of confirmation that we're looking for a Section 30, or by that point we might have a general election coming up where the SNP just simply have to stand on the Independence Manifesto. There's no other two ways about it. What's your opinion on that, guys?
Ian, you know where I stand. It is not the politicians who will deliver independence. It is the people. The politicians already have the mandate. Triple locked mandate. It's the same carrot and stick. It's the same carrot and stick as Westminster uses against its people, in my view, and it shows, because unless the mandate has a shelf life, and that shelf life gets even shorter after the 29th of March, because leaving the EU law comes into play. Henry VIII's law comes into play, where David Mundell has the power. Whether he would use it directly to close down Holyrood is another question, but he has the power to remove all and any powers that Holyrood have. He can slowly suck the life out of Holyrood, and unless we are prepared to stand against it, it will happen. So, time for talking is over. We need action from the SNP, and we need it now.
I've just had a quick look on Twitter, obviously not in great detail, but there have been several SNP MPs coming out with saying that this speech from Theresa May was absolute rubbish. Maybe from a journalist who's been getting also frustrated over the last few weeks. She can't even make threats properly. how whimsical some people want to delay Brexit tone is toe-curlingly inane and embarrassing. She's getting better right now, and again, I think there's going to be no good results as long as the charge of the United Kingdom and Scotland is a member.
Pat is, sorry Colin, Pat, it's definitely your mic that's causing all the feedback. Really bad. It's your mic that's causing the feedback. See when you're not talking, keep your mic muted because it's interfering everyone else. Graham, are you still with us, mate?
Yeah, I'm still here, but I'm struggling to hear you. You've got a lot of echo there.
Yeah, I said hopefully Pat's hitting the mute button. No, your audio's fine. It's just Pat's is feeding through everything, and it's causing a ripple effect on everything. But yeah,
I've always been a troublemaker, that one.
But yeah, Graham, I mean, obviously what we would like to try and do is, your camera's not on, but if we're going to be wrapping up in the next 10-15, a couple of us have got shifts to do tonight still.
My camera's not on.
Yeah, it's gone off, it's maybe my Skype, but your audio's coming through fine though, mate, so if worst case scenario, we'll still get a wee tune off you. But what I was going to ask is, obviously, just for everyone just to kind of sum up with a bit of positivity, because I know, Colin, you won't be able to make over this weekend for the marches in Glasgow and Inverness. What are you kind of looking forward to, Pat? Sorry, Graham, Graham, what are you looking forward to this rally this Sunday?
What am I looking forward to?
Aye.
I'm hoping, well, there's a couple of things actually, but I'm hoping there's going to be a big turnout. I've got my band with me this for the first time ever. So yeah, some guys I've known for a lot of years, good independent supporters. They've all been keen to get on board for a while. So I've got Stevie Garland coming on drums and the Prof, Graham Corner on keyboards, and I've got Al Cooper coming along on bass as well. So yeah, it'd be nice to do a wee bit rather than standing up. And Sean Moore's coming up to help with the vocals as well. Don't know if you know the poet Sean Moore. Good poet actually. So he's coming up as well. So it should be a good laugh. I'm looking forward to having a good laugh. I've got a busy weekend leading up to it, so hopefully I'll still be able to sing by Sunday. But hey, if not, I'll just play guitar. But yeah, I hope it's a massive turnout. I hope the people come along to show their support for independence.
Well, I think it's quite. There's a lot of obviously argument over the exact numbers from Edinburgh at the end of the year there in October, but there was at least 180,000 on the streets in Edinburgh. Glasgow, we got 80,000, and kind of, was it March, April, that rally last year? The first one in Glasgow?
May. 5th of May.
Yeah, and that was a really big one as well. So, I mean, realistically, I would, if we could get 250,000 onto the streets this weekend, would be phenomenal. But it's going to be a real eye-opener. Make sure everyone's following all the kind of information for it. So you've got the all under one banner, Hope Over Fear. These are your best two sites on Facebook to follow with regard to rallies and other independence related news, as well as all your other groups. Pat, are you going to be speaking this weekend?
No, I'm not. No, and just for your information, folks, it's launched the lifeboat with Hope Over Fear. Use #use the mandate on Saturday in George Freedom Square.
Sunday
the 24th.
Yes, at 1 PM.
1 o'clock to 4. They've extended the time. Numbers don't matter. Numbers don't matter. And singular one-off events, numbers don't matter. We simply have to get, as we said in Berlin, we had a triple figure attendees there. It was fantastic. The point was we were in the heart of Europe and our message was coming across. This time we're in Scotland's biggest city and it's kicking off the marching rally season in Scotland. So If you can be there, be there. It's never been a disappointment. Never been a disappointment. I will be there. I will be live streaming for Indie Live. So I'll have opportunity to flit in and out of the day and be a punter. Be one of you guys who are attending and meet up with some of the souls I've spoken to through the years but never actually met. So I'm looking forward to it.
And Colin, are you going to be tuning into Pat's Independence Live broadcast then, or the People Don't Set Referendum live?
I'll be following it online. To the extent I agree with Pat, numbers don't matter. It is important to get the message out. So again, if you're watching us tonight and for whatever reason you can't make it this weekend, don't worry about it. It's not a problem. Everyone's got the reasons why they can't make it. You don't have to justify yourself to anybody why you can't make it. But equally, right now, the situation that we are in, as you said, Ian, it would be great if we could get maybe 200,000, 250,000 out, because that way we could show a message to the Scottish Government and to the Westminster Government what the appetite is for a referendum in Scotland. The Tories and the Labour Party in Scotland and the Lib Dems, they keep trying to tell us that Scotland does not want another divisive referendum. Note, it's always divisive. Don't know why, but it always is. Let's show them that Scotland does want another referendum, and not just that Scotland wants another referendum, but that Scotland wants independence. And they want independence now, not next year, not in 2 years, not in 3 years, but now. Because never, as I again said on Saturday in Berlin, never has it been more imperative that Scotland is an independent country. People are dying because of Tory policies. Scotland is getting turned over and over and over by Tory policies. We need our independence, and the sooner we get it, the better. Get it better.
Definitely. Well, I'll just finish up some of the Facebook. Once again, everyone that tunes in the Facebook, shares it to the groups, all the admins that post it, everyone that helps us get the message out there, thank you a million times over. We will be at the Glasgow rally. We'll not make Inverness, unfortunately. No one's going to Inverness from here, are we yet? No. So I apologise to Danny, who's going from Edinburgh up to Inverness, and he'll be at Glasgow on Sunday. So make sure you pop in and say hello to us as well. Thank you for all your contributions. But yeah, we are getting at a stage where we need to be filling ourselves with the information, filling ourselves with the positivity about why Scotland deserves to be an independent country, why we will be an independent country, all thanks to Brexit. So yeah. Where do you go? Oh, you've still got yourself muted because you were causing the echo. Unmute. Sorry.
Right, I'll just correct you on one thing before we go. Ladies and gentlemen, Scotland is an independent country. It always has been, and it always will be. It is simply treated in a legal document to a false equal union. The time is now to dissolve that treaty, dissolve that union, and we can start on Saturday in George Square and Sunday in George Square in Glasgow at 1 p.m. Hope to see you there.
And you got any final words, Colin, before we get played out again, hopefully, if that's alright by yourself, Graham?
Yes, absolutely, yeah, I'll get ready.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's down to us. As Pat said earlier on, it's not going to be the politicians to deliver independence, it's going to be the people of Scotland. And I can guarantee you one thing, there's a lot of folk in Germany that are standing and have got your back. And I hope also to be over to some of the marches and rallies later on in the year, assuming I can get my health back to where it should be. But whatever happens, we're behind you, we stand with you.
Super. Well, once again, everyone, thanks for tuning in to Zero Budget Studios. and we're going to hand over to our musical exits from Graham. Take it away, Graham. Thanks again for everyone.
I've been on a kind of warfare today, so I'm here to do a wee upbeat battle number, eh? Stand up and join the fight. Stand up and join the fight. Stand up and join the fight. Yeah, we can make it right. I've been fighting all my life. We long year, it's been a lonely strife. No one seems to care from where I stand. That the rich man takes from the poor man. Stand up and join the fight. Stand up and join the fight. Stand up and join the fight. Yeah, we can make it right. They try to tell you that they understand, but it's all part of the master plan to get your vote and to keep you down. But I know we've turned it all around. Stand up and join the fight. Stand up and join the fight. Stand up and join the fight. Yeah, we can make it right. Raise their taxes, make them pay. That's how we did it in Harold Wilson's day. Don't believe them when they protest. They need you to fund their excess. Stand up and join the fight. Stand up and join the fight. Stand up and join the fight. Together we can make it right. Guys.